group of lines?
I underline, I underline the first line.
Okay.
And then under, it's in the reach of my arms, I underline the span of my hips. And the forward, yeah.
Spell it.
FELLOWS.
Fellows.
Fellow size or
The fellows. That's another word for like guys, the boys.
the fellow size or the fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees.
And what about those groups of lines that you like the most?
When they fell on their knees.
Okay. You know what it reminded me of just now when you were reading it, Beyonce's song. What does she say to people? What's one of her songs? She tells everybody to what to her? Bow down to her. You know? So it's almost the same attitude, that same expression, bow down to me. But she doesn't say bow down to me because I'm a woman. Why does she want the world to bow down to her? Because she's what? In the music industry.
She famous.
She famous. She Queen Bee. She Beyonce. She one of the few people that doesn't have to advertise her CD or her next song, and it's going to sell out all over the world. I mean, her and Jay-Z can't go anywhere. People are going to swarm around her. And what do I mean by swarm? Yeah, they're going to gather around the photographers, the paparazzi. Everybody wants to be around B and Jay-Z because they're the hottest thing on. Do you think this is someone you would like to sit down and have a cup of tea with and talk to? Does she sound interesting to you? A little bit. Okay, so let's look at our board. We've brainstormed. We analyzed the difference between a poem and an essay. Activity 1, we looked up a little bit of vocabulary so everyone understands the meaning of phenomenal. What was the example you gave of phenomenal? What does phenomenal mean? Great. And who did we say in the room is great? Janaya. She is perfect. Okay. In activity 2, we analyzed the poem. We listened to me read it and Maya Angelou. We were kind of competing with the technology. Now let's go to activity 3. The poem, write them on a Post-it to share them with a partner or within the whole group. We've already discussed them and analyzed. So we're not going to do the Post-its because of time. Now let's go straight to our assessment. Compose a poetic response to the poem. Remember to use lines instead of sentences, stanzas instead of paragraphs, and figurative language instead of simple words and phrases. Now, when I say figurative language, what do I mean by that? Are you familiar with, if I say the bird was singing, screaming, and shouting while sitting in the tree? Do birds actually sing, scream, and shout? They sing, but do they shout?
No.
And who shouts and screams? Humans. So when we give human-like qualities to things that are not humans, that's an example of what? Figurative language or personification. When we use words or phrases, like in the poem, she compared a group of men to what? When they all come around her, very good. So that's a figurative language. That's giving us the visual of a group of, we know what men look like, and we know what bees look like, and now we're visualizing these men swarming around her. So it's kind of like when you use figurative language, you're creating a mind movie in your poetry. On this blank, yes ma'am? Of course. You taking Janaya?
No.
Okay. She can stay with us. She's phenomenal. A scroll, but it didn't come out in the printing. And I noticed she said earlier, essay begins at the left side of the page. Center your poem. Just jot down some thoughts, some words, and ideas. If Maya Angelou was sitting with us today and we had to write a poetic response to her poem, what are some of the things that you might say to her? You can talk about yourself because you yourself are phenomenal women. You can talk about Janaya. She's a phenomenal baby, but she's going to grow up to be a phenomenal woman. You can take parts of the poem out and extend them, add different ideas to them. It's up to you. And you may begin. We have about 5 more minutes for our final activity. And while you're thinking, I'm going to be thinking too. Or do them from memory. That's called reciting. We snap our fingers. We don't clap. Yeah, have you seen Poetic Justice? That's my movie. Okay. Let's start. You finished first, so let's start with you. Oh, read it out loud. Can I read it? Well, if I read it out loud, I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't want to. Do you mind if I read it out loud?
It might sound funny. I don't know,
but it's your work. It's not going to sound funny to us. It's your expression. It's your thought. How about I read yours and you read mine? Because I wrote mine head. I love poetry, y'all. Okay, you go ahead. Read mine first.
I am phenomenal. Yes, I am a phenomenal woman. I may be fat and too smart for some, but I am still a great woman. I am phenomenal. Yes, that is me. I am great as can be.
Hey, all right. Okay. And here's her poem. Phenomenal. Come on, you can start it and we can finish it for you. Okay, her poem is Phenomenal Woman, I Am. I am not a model, but I have a nice size. My eyes glisten as the stars in the night sky. And the flesh of my teeth is what makes my smile so sweet. I love the imagery. Does the swing of my waist determine the beautiness of my face? Let's read that again. Does the swing of my waist determine the beautiness of my face? Okay, she created a word, beautiness. Okay, I like that. Phenomenal woman, yes, that's me. Okay, that was height. Okay, let me hear the beginning of yours. Yours is unfinished, but you have a beginning. Come on. Look, my Angela wants to hear you. Can I read it? Okay. Can you read the beginning of yours? Janai said, read it, Mommy. Take a drink, take a drink.
I gotta read it.
Would you like me to read it for you?
I'm not finished.
Just read the beginning. We want to hear you start.
Being a phenomenal woman to my family and people. That's it.
Excellent. Okay, you did something Maya Angelou did not do. You included your family in it. She only talked about being a phenomenal woman to who? Herself, and to who else? Who's going to swarm around her like honeybee? To men. And I think a lot of women see themselves from the point of view of men. So I like how you added that different element. You added family to it. That's very important. Plus you're a mom, which also makes you phenomenal. That's another layer. I'm going to use this word today. Beautiness. Beautifulness.
What was the right word to replace that?
Well, this is an advantage you have when you're a poet. You can create words. So I would not take off for you creating a word because that's the style that a poet has. But if you were writing an essay, I would take off of that. So instead of saying beautiness, does the swing of my waist determine, I would just say beauty of my face. But the word beauty in itself is a noun. When you add N-E-S-S to any word, it makes it a noun. So in your mind, you knew you needed a noun and you wanted the word beauty, but I think you just wanted to add a little rhyme to it. But that's fine. Who makes up words every day and makes millions and millions of dollars? You hear them all the time on the radio. Who does it all the time? Rappers. 90% of the words they use are not real. But they're so creative and they're so talented, they make up words all the time. And then we start using the words all the time. 5 years ago, were people saying fleek? No, somebody made that up. So, I mean, you just created a word, girl. Come on. Can I read yours? Okay, let's look at our board. Let's go back to the beginning of our lesson. Your warm-up was your brainstorming. That was worth 8 points. So, and you can, whose paper is this? This is yours. Grade your own paper. I'll collect it and put the final grade in my grade book. For brainstorming, you have 8 points. For activity 1, you earned 8 points. So just put +8 next to brainstorm. +8 next to activity 1, which was vocabulary development. Turn to the next page. Activity 2. We read the poem. We kind of sort of heard Maya Angelou, but you really heard Miss Wilson. And then you reread it and highlighted. If you did your highlighting and read it twice, give yourself +8. Excellent. Activity 3 is on the next page. This is the only thing we didn't do. We didn't write our ideas down on Post-its. However, you did discuss and share your ideas with the class. So that's a +8. Now I want you to grade your own poem. Did your poem have a topic? Did you stay on a particular topic or theme? Did it have a central idea? It was mainly about what? Yourself and being a... Okay. So where it says your score, you're going to give yourself 2 points if you stayed on topic. Did you use an example of figurative language? In her poem, she used imagery. When you use, to me, metaphors are easier than similes because in a metaphor, you can use like or as. You're comparing yourself using the words like or as. So the last line of her poem says, I am great in so many ways. I would start your next line with the word like. So I am great in so many ways, like what? What are you great like? I'm great in so many ways, like, what do we wear on our fingers? They bling. Rings with diamonds. Like rings with diamonds. That would be an example of a metaphor. So she just used personification. She just used figurative language. So she just got 2. You are a phenomenal woman for your family and your
House.
It begins with a P.
People.
And your people. Now read it back to us because we got a little flow in there now. Don't get me started, y'all. I'm going to start rapping. Y'all don't want to hear that.
Did I get 2 points for figurative language?
Yeah, because you use imagery and you use the metaphor and you use a metaphor. Excellent. Did you write lines instead of sentences?
Yes.
Okay. Then you get another 2 points. Did you write stanzas instead of paragraphs?
Yes.
Very good, because you were in the center of the page, you didn't indent, and you just started writing. So add up your total score. Excellent. So you did 3 activities, 1 brainstorming. Each were worth 8. What's 8 times 4?
24.
Add 8 more, 32. Your assessment was worth 8 points. So 32 plus 8 equals 40. Let's turn to the front of the page. Next to the student's name, it says score. Blank out of 40. How many points did you get today?
40.
Woo! Excellent. And our final question before we are dismissed. Closure. What was the overall theme of Maya Angelou's poem, and did you address it in your poetic response? Overall, what was her poem about? Being a
woman.
Being a phenomenal woman. Did you address that theme in your poem?
Yeah.
Yes, you did, ladies. Excellent job. Please keep these papers and share them with your family and friends. Class is dismissed. Woo-hoo.